An old car can punish you with a $2,000 repair on Tuesday. A new one can quietly take $770 from you every month for years. So which one is actually the financial trap? And does owning an old car give you freedom? Or simply replace a predictable payment with unpredictable problems? I'm William, and today we're putting nostalgia, fear, and dealership logic aside to find out how good or bad it really is to own an old car. What does old really mean? First, we need to define the accused. For this discussion, an old car is roughly 15 to 25 years old, modern enough to have fuel injection, air conditioning, airbags, and basic diagnostics, but old enough that the dealership would love to convince you it belongs in a museum or a junkyard, and age alone tells us very little. A carefully maintained 20-year-old Buick can be a safer bet for your wallet than a neglected 8-year-old European luxury sedan with 3 warning lights performing their own Christmas show. The real question is not, is an old car reliable? It is, can its problems be predicted, repaired, and financially controlled? Keep that distinction in mind, because it changes the entire verdict. The 2 bills. Imagine 2 envelopes on your kitchen table. The first contains a new car payment. In early 2026, the average payment reached about $770 per month, while the average new vehicle sold for nearly $50,000. Add insurance, registration, and interest, and that new car smell begins to resemble an expensive air freshener. The second envelope comes from your mechanic. It says $2,000 for a water pump, suspension work, tires, and a leaking gasket. It hurts because it arrives all at once. But if the car has been paid off for 6 years, which envelope truly cost you more? This is where our brains can mislead us. Repairs are visible and emotional. Depreciation is silent. According to AAA's latest complete ownership study, depreciation alone cost the average new car owner more than $4,300 per year. Nobody calls you on Friday afternoon to say, "Congratulations, your car quietly lost another $80 this week, but the money is still gone." That is the strongest argument for keeping an old car. Not that repairs disappear, but that depreciation and financing may stop consuming your income. The defense of the old car. A good old car can give you breathing room, no payment, lower registration costs in many places, often cheaper insurance. And if it comes from an era of naturally aspirated engines, conventional automatics, and physical buttons, a competent, independent mechanic can usually understand what is happening without asking a software engineer for permission. There is also value in knowing your own machine. You recognize the cold start sound. You know which window switch needs a little encouragement. You know the transmission behavior, the service history, and whether that small oil spot appeared yesterday or has been decorating the garage floor since the Bush administration. Replacing a known car with an unknown used car can actually increase risk. Your current vehicle may have faded paint and an interior that smells faintly of every coffee you have spilled since 2012, but its history is yours. The shiny replacement has been professionally detailed. Its secrets have also been professionally detailed, and many older owners drive fewer miles than they once did. If a paid-off sedan travels 5,000 miles per year, taking on a 72-month loan to avoid occasional repairs can be like buying a new refrigerator because the old one needed a door seal. So far, the defense looks strong. But now we need to hear from the prosecution, because paid off does not automatically mean cheap. The cost that doesn't appear on the invoice. Old cars age even when the odometer barely moves. Rubber hardens, seals shrink, plastic connectors become brittle. Fuel pumps, alternators, wheel bearings, and air conditioning components do not care that the vehicle has only 80,000 miles. One repair may be reasonable. The danger is the repair parade. Radiator this month, control arms next month, air conditioning in July, and then the transmission begins clearing its throat like it has an announcement to make. The invoice is only part of the cost. What about the missed appointment? The tow truck? The rental car? The weekend spent searching forums because the replacement part was discontinued 3 years ago? An old car can be mechanically simple and still be logistically exhausting. This is especially important if it is your only vehicle. A retired owner with a second car and a trusted local mechanic experiences a breakdown very differently from someone who must be at work at 7 every morning. The same car can be a charming companion for one person and a rolling anxiety disorder for another. And here is a line worth remembering. An old car is not affordable merely because you can buy it. It is affordable only if you can maintain it without destabilizing the rest of your life. Nostalgia is not a maintenance record. Now we need to confront the most persuasive salesperson in the room: memory. Yes, many older cars had better visibility, thinner pillars, comfortable seats, and controls designed for human hands instead of a tablet mounted on the dashboard. Some were genuinely overbuilt. But not every car from the past was a masterpiece. We remember the Chevrolet that ran for 300,000 miles. We conveniently forget the one that overheated twice, rusted around the wheel arches, and required a screwdriver to start. Nostalgia can tell you what kind of driving experience you miss. It cannot tell you whether the previous owner changed the coolant. The smart old car owner does not buy an era. He buys condition, service history, parts support, and mechanical simplicity. A 15-year-old car with records, common components, and a clean underside can be a rational tool. A rare 25-year-old luxury flagship with air suspension and 12 previous owners may simply be a very comfortable way to meet every mechanic in your county. The safety question. This is where old car romanticism must stop. Newer vehicles are generally safer. Structural engineering has improved. Side impact protection has improved. Stability control, curtain airbags, automatic emergency braking, and better crash compatibility are not dealership gimmicks. NHTSA data shows that fatality risk rises in older vehicles. And for older drivers and passengers, crash protection matters even more because the body may be less tolerant of injury. Simplicity is valuable, but simplicity does not stop a crash. That does not mean every 15-year-old car is a death trap or that everyone must finance a brand new SUV. It means safety belongs in the calculation. A well-maintained car from the early 2010s with stability control, multiple airbags, and strong crash test performance is a very different proposition from a vehicle designed before side impact standards matured. If you mostly drive quiet local roads, your risk profile differs from someone commuting 70 miles every day in heavy interstate traffic. Once again, the verdict depends not only on the car, but on the life surrounding it. The real dividing line? At this point, we can finally identify what separates a good old car experience from a miserable one. It is not a specific birthday on the title. It is predictability. Predictable cars have common parts, known failure points, service records, and a mechanic who understands them. Their owners keep a repair reserve instead of spending every dollar on the purchase. They replace aging components before a road trip and do not interpret a warning light as the car asking for emotional support. Unpredictable cars have mystery histories, neglected fluids, structural rust, modified wiring, and complex features that worked beautifully when George W. Bush was president. Their owners buy them because the price looks low, then discover that depreciation reduced the value of the car, but not the price of its parts. The best old car is often the one you already own, provided the structure is sound, the powertrain is healthy, and you know what has been done. Keeping it may be wiser than trading a familiar set of flaws for a stranger's freshly polished problems. But there is a point where loyalty becomes denial. If the car is repeatedly overheating, rust has reached structural areas, critical safety systems no longer work, or repairs regularly exceed its usefulness to you, keeping it is no longer thrift. It is an expensive relationship you are afraid to end. Who should actually own one? An old car can be excellent for someone who drives modest mileage, has access to a trustworthy independent mechanic, keeps emergency savings, and can tolerate occasional inconvenience. It can be even better as a second vehicle where a repair is an event rather than a crisis. It can be terrible for someone who needs absolute daily reliability, has no repair reserve, cannot obtain parts locally, or becomes stressed every time a new sound appears. There is no shame in paying more for predictability, warranty coverage, and modern safety. Peace of mind has value too. The mistake is pretending either choice is free. The new car owner pays for predictability, depreciation, and technology. The old car owner pays with maintenance, uncertainty, and sometimes time. One cost arrives on schedule, the other likes surprises. The verdict? So, how good or bad is it really to own an old car? A good old car can provide something increasingly rare: financial breathing room and the satisfaction of truly owning what you drive. It can be familiar, repairable, and perfectly adequate for the life you actually live, not the lifestyle shown in a commercial. But a neglected or overly complex old car can own you instead. It can consume weekends, cancel plans, and turn every unfamiliar vibration into a financial prediction. The truth is that an old car is not automatically a bargain, and a new car is not automatically responsible. The right choice is the one whose risks you understand and whose costs your life can absorb. Now, I want your verdict, because this audience has more real-world experience than any spreadsheet. What is the oldest car you currently own, or the oldest one you kept for years? Did it save you money, or eventually test your patience? Tell us the car, the mileage, and the repair that finally made you question everything. And if you value honest car advice without dealership worship or nostalgic fairy tales, like the video and subscribe to the Auto Ally. Here, the car does not win just because it is new, old, expensive, or famous. It has to earn the verdict.